Hey everybody, I hope you are having an amazing day. And if you are not, I am proud of you for pushing through. I wanted to have a conversation about emotions and how important it is for us to at least have some form of handle on our emotions. Of course, now, summer has left us high and dry. It's getting cold, and I know that around this time, people really start to get into their depressive states and things kind of go downhill for people emotionally. And I just kind of wanted to have a discussion about how important it is for us to at least have some form of control, to at least be in the car of our emotions, because things can get dark, things can get heavy. And of course, we are going to have our moments where we just can't handle it. We don't have the capacity. We are drained. We just aren't in the mood for it for real. And a lot of times we try to do our little ways. We try to fix it ourselves. We try to ignore it. We try to keep ourselves distracted. We try to, go outside. We try to act like it doesn't exist, invalidate ourselves unknowingly and even knowingly. And I think it's very important to, while it is a good idea to get out there and, keep yourself active and keep yourself busy, I think the consensus of trying to use that as a cover up or a band-aid or sweeping your emotions under the rug just does you a disservice, because it's going to be there when you get back. And I think we really need to discuss the dangers of not really understanding or giving ourselves opportunities to process our emotions. I was having a conversation earlier, and I was a huge fan of Criminal Minds, the earlier seasons. And, a lot of times when you watch a show like Criminal Minds and you are dealing with the unsubs, you typically kind of see a pattern of somebody who was abused, somebody who grew up in violence, drugs, things of that nature, and they are not provided with a space to heal their traumas. And a lot of time, because they don't have that space, they just don't know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to regulate their thoughts. So they stew in it. And as they continue to stew in it, they grow hatred, they become sinister, and it doesn't excuse their crimes by no means, zero means. But if you really sit, I've done some reading on some serial killers, just because I've always been curious, especially after a show like Criminal Minds. I always wanted to read up on them and really see, can I determine what may have caused this outcome? I've read about Ted Bundy, I've read about Jeffrey Dahmer, and I read about, there's a third one, it slipped my mind at the moment, but I've read about a few. Was it Marilyn Manson? No, Marilyn. I can't remember, sorry. I can't remember who the third one was. But all three of the stories that I read, they came from some form of abuse. They came from some form of, drugs, violence, hatred. And I can actually see how they've grown to be so hateful, to be so violent, to be so sinister. And, not to try to make things seem extreme, but when you don't have a handle on it, things can go left really quickly, and you can really black out for a moment and not have any control. You don't have no steering power, and you do something that you will never be able to take back. That's real shit. Not being able to regulate your emotions. If somebody is angry or gets angry and they don't know how to reel that back in, that can be one of the most dangerous people walking around. And that's the one thing nobody wants to deal with. Look at the amount of times that guys would walk up to women and, you know, try to spit game, and the girl will be like, no, you know, I'm okay, or I have a boyfriend. They go to the extreme. They don't even say like, okay, cool, or, you know, maybe say like, all right, well, you know, I don't want to deal with you anyway. So, you know, that little stupid petty shit. They go off to the extreme. They're assaulting these women. They're hitting these women. They're killing, well, same thing. They're killing these women. And it's just like, well, goddamn, like this whole idea of you're a man, don't cry, you're a man, that is doing nothing but a disservice. Nothing. There's no safe space for these men to unleash their emotions. So they're just walking bottle of emotions, and it just takes the wrong thing and boom, everybody's fucked up. And that goes for women as well. Imagine just being a walking bottle of emotions. Everything that you've gone through, you just got to eat it, eat it, eat it, because you don't feel like you have a safe space. You don't feel like, you know, it's manly or it's strong to be emotional. You don't feel like you would get the support because people are going to judge you. So you have to eat that, eat that, eat that. You can only eat so much before you get full. So it's just like we need to break down this stigma of, oh, you know, you're too emotional for me, or you're too soft, or all this dumb shit. For the right person, you will not be too emotional. For the right person, you won't be too soft. There is somebody out there who appreciates emotional intelligence, who appreciates someone who knows how to vocalize how they're feeling, who appreciates someone who knows how to regulate their feelings. Because somebody who knows how to regulate their feelings, they know how to talk respectfully so it doesn't come off in any way. They know how to talk in a grown manner. They know how to express exactly what they're feeling without coming off as combative, aggressive, mean. Those are people who have their emotions in check. Now, don't get it twisted. Everybody's going to have their day. It's not going to be perfect all the time. It's obviously going to be a roller coaster every time. But if you're able to stop yourself from getting to an extreme and giving yourself the room, giving yourself the grace to just be like, I'm not okay. And let me sit in that. And what can I do in my control to ensure that I don't fall deeper into this hole? This whole idea of, oh, well, I'm going to just distract myself so that I don't feel anything. I'm telling you, it may seem good for the moment, but the second you get back to that place, it's going to be worse, because not only now are you dealing with new shit that sent you there in the first place, but now you got your old shit waiting for you, like, you know, welcome back. We're still here. You still got to deal with us. So it just doesn't make sense. And I really, really hope that this particular segment can open up a deeper conversation, because I think that it's necessary. Oh my gosh, why can't I talk today? Because I think that it's necessary. And I think that that would do us a service of communicating, getting more happy people. Things are so difficult right now. So if we're able to at least have a handle on that as much as we can, things would be a lot easier to digest, because you will have the tools. You will understand your triggers. You will understand, you know, how to deal with certain emotions. You will understand how to go about, you know, dealing with it, whether that means you need space, whether that means you need to be around people. You can do that in a healthy and safe manner, not only for you, but for everybody else around you.